Hello everyone, and today's video I'm going to show you how analog output gear has an impact on your mixing and mastering and why engineers love to use it. So here we go. I think the first thing that is quite important, analog gear is not better than plugins or any other stuff. Analog gear is different because even when you use the same piece of gear, you have different converters and you have different cablings, and all this stuff has an impact on your sound. I always love to use analog gear just because of the color. So in my studio right here, I have on the left side an Avalon 747 and a Neve Masterbus processor. You know, these two machines, they run through the Prism Sound Atlas, and these things are my only outboard gear. How do I use the Avalon, for example? You see on the left there's a tube single path, and on the right there's an equalizer, and I really like the highs of the Avalon. So you see, this is just for a little coloring of that whole thing. And the Neve Masterbus processor is known for its texture silk button, which literally colors the sound a lot with saturation, and with the stereo field editor. So you have the chance to use the mono button to bring more depth into the mix, and the width button to make it more wide. So I usually use the width button and make it a bit more wide, and I use the silk button, and depends on, sometimes I also use the compressor, but for this video we're just talking about coloring. And what we're going to do now is we will have a look how the silk button impacts the sound, just to have a understanding of how does analog gear starts coloring your sound. And that's what I'm doing. So you see, the first one is the clean channel, and the second one is the analog channel with the Neve Masterbus processor. I reduced a bit the volume of 1 dB because, you know, the silk button adds a bit gain to the sound. And when I switch to the analog one, it is literally now the Neve Masterbus processor with the silk on 25%. Let's start first with the clean one. Now let's switch to the silk. And we go big back and forth. Yeah, it feels like that. Yeah, the whole song is more packed. There's something going to happen. I don't know what it is. It feels right. Let's try when we increase this saturation up to 50%. I think everything above is hardcore. But let's see. Let's start again with clean, and then I switch over to the analog one. It's crazy. I have the feeling that it sounds more open on the analog one than on the clear digital mix bus. Let's see when we add to that sound our width button right here. Just on the full range, in the stereo field, you see, that way. So let's see how this one impacts the sound. Let's switch off the silk for that, because otherwise we won't have the only one feature of that one. So let's go on our DAW and see how does it sound. First clean, and then I just switch between the tracks. Yeah, it's crazy because now it's getting a bit more wide compared to the other one, but it's losing gain from the switch off of the silk button. So let's switch on the silk button again. So, but don't do it on 50%. Let's do it like on the 25%. That's usually how I use it, 25% on the silk button, and just really depends. Sometimes this is already too much for the stereo field. Depends on the mix, yeah. So right here, let's say even one less could be more interesting, yeah. So this would be my setting for the Neve Master Bus processor to color the sound with analog gear. So let's now compare this clean channel versus the analog channel. So let's first start with the clean channel. Yeah, you feel like that the changes are tiny, but it is feeling, yeah. Finally, this analog gear has a huge impact on the feeling, yeah. I feel like when I switch between the two tracks that something is going to happen. I even can't say exactly, but it starts getting more and more musical, and that's what I like with the analog gear. So you keep it on the standard settings, switch it on, and see what is going to happen. And sometimes, of course, you tweak a bit with the second one. So now let's switch to the Avalon. Yeah, and what I do right here, I increase a bit the input of that machine and reduce, of course, in the same way the output to get a bit more tube single path distortion. Yeah, this is, yeah, let's say it really depends on the music genre what you're finally doing, because when you do more indie rock, this is nice when you tweak it more and you give more input gain. But let's see how it sounds on that track when we switch on the Avalon. For that, I will include it in our master chain. I switch off the Neve, and let's hear how it sounds when I just punch in the tube single path. Yeah, so let's go on the Avalon, and I just switch on the tube single path, this button over there. So what is quite interesting about this one, the transients of the track, especially like the snare and the kick, they become a little bit softer, yeah, smooth. And this is quite interesting because you have that kind of tape feeling when you switch on that machine. So let's compare it to our raw signal when we just switch on the Avalon 747, which is literally on tube single path, nothing else, and just a bit more input and reduction of the output. And let's see how it will impact the sound right here. So let's go for it. First clean, and then after that, the Avalon. It's quite interesting because now we have more or less a much more smooth sounding kick and snare drum. And let's have a look. I also use on that machine the equalizer. I reduce a bit the 2K range and just boost a bit the super high end of that equalizer. So this is painting with big colors, yeah. And let's have a look. So now same procedure. So this is our equalizer. So we'll switch it on and off and let the track running and just see what is the equalizer doing. I will switch off the tube single path and let's just listen to the equalizer. Let's overdo it. Yeah, as you see, it adds a little bit of color to your track. And let's now see how does it sound when I include the tube single path of that machine and the equalizer. So tube single path on the left, we switch it on, well, and the equalizer. And now we compare in our DAW the clean signal versus the analog signal. So let's go for it. First, again, clean signal and then analog signal. Yeah, as you can see right here, we have literally small and tiny impacts with the audio. And this is so cool, you know, when you use that analog gear, whatever you do, if you run it through the tube machine or through the master bus processor in here, it finally makes something, yeah, something happens to your sound, even like when it's just 10%, something is going to happen because, of course, you have converters that the machines are running through, and this is a feeling, yeah. And that's how I use the analog gear. It's all about feeling, and that's how to get an individual sound. Thank you very much for watching.